Audio on Instagram, Twitter and Instagram, whatever. And yeah, his entire page is just dedicated to being cool, being an alpha male, and putting down women while trying to convince everybody how cool he is. But babe, we can see you. We can see you with our eyes. So in the comments section,
All right, guys. Welcome to another nuke stream. Today we're going to talk about ghosting, and because very often on X, I see a post where a guy is trying to like ask for closure or giving closure or being mad at the girl because she didn't show up or she wasted his time, blah blah. And I'm telling you right now, guys, one of the most unattractive things you can do to women is beg for closure or ask for some kind of accountability for something that she did or something. That's very unattractive to women. And it's something that guys keep breaking this rule because they feel slighted. Now, the fact that you feel slighted, we can lessen that by learning how and when to plan a date and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, no matter what happens, there is no control over when a woman decides that she doesn't want to see you anymore. And a lot of guys accept that part. But the other part they don't accept is that she doesn't owe you an explanation. And when I say that, I don't mean it in a mean like j- I mean it in a way that like you can't control it. So don't expect it. You're not entitled to it. There is no contract for someone to act a certain way, especially a stranger. So why would you expect the best from someone who you don't even know? Right? So we're gonna get into that. Um, Also, guys, I have a anonymous question, or anonymous questionnaire thing that you guys can ask questions. I'll put it in the chat here. I tried to put it from my phone, I couldn't. Let me see. Here we go. It's my not gonna lie link. So you go in there. If your questions seem a little bit, you don't want to ask a question, um, because it's tied to your username or it's embarrassing, you can go to that link right there in the chat, and you can ask questions here. Let me put a www dot in front of it. Maybe that'll. There you go. So you can go there, ask questions, and we'll answer them. But on to the topic. So I made a nice little PowerPoint, and so you guys can like conceptualize this better. I used an old video of mine where we talk about the cookie in the pocket and kids in the mansion theory. That was from a long time ago. That was like 2 years ago. But I input it as a source into Notebook LM as well as two of my essays. So all of this is coming from my work. However, obviously my work is influenced by others, but everything is coming from me, and so this is very personal in terms of how I present it to you. So let me bring it up here. Share screen. Okay, I don't need audio. There we go. So here we have, I call it Dignity and Disappearance. The Modern Field Manual for Ghost Enclosure and Logistical Defense. Okay, whatever that means. That was Notebook LM, but you guys get it. So something that's controversial, or maybe it may sound controversial to normies, is that I always say ghosting is better than a closure. a closure text, a closure meeting, a closure whatever, like closure in general, where the girl comes forward and says, "Hey, this is what happened. This is why I'm not going to go out with you." And mainly, guys, the reason is that it's never going to be honest. We're going to get into that, but it's never honest. When a girl wants to leave you or stop talking to you, she's not looking to let you down easy, not in the way you think. It's self absolution. She feels bad, so she needs a way to feel less bad. So she does this as a way to feel better about herself, right? She doesn't care about you. She just wants to feel better that she wasted your time. So, um, so yeah, we'll go to the first slide here. The paradox of the closure text. Let me see if I can make this bigger. Well, it looks like I can't. Okay. All right. So the paradox of the closure text. Essentially, phase one. We have phase one and phase two. So phase one, the lover, spontaneous and fragmented, and then phase two is the human resources, hyper formal and attached. And this is what I was talking about earlier. Like, men often experience the supposedly considerate closure paragraph as artificial, patronizing, and strangely humiliating. The shift from casual intimacy to HR conflict management is what creates the dissonance, right? So a lot of guys will be texting, talking to a girl, and maybe they hooked up with her, maybe they didn't, maybe they did all these things, whatever. And then they get to this level of intimacy with the girl where they're talking about anything from family history to our biggest worries to sexual fantasies, all of it. You feel like you're getting to know this person on a level that other men don't, so you feel kind of invested. You feel like I got her. Like I got a person that's in my frame, in my orbit, and I got her. And guys believe that. And then one day you get the HR text that you're seeing here. I have really enjoyed getting to know you, but I do not believe I'm currently in the emotional space to give this connection the attention it deserves. And understandably, men don't like this because it goes from being super intimate, right? You're talking about weird sexual stuff and very intimate family history. And maybe she's even cried, like she's opened up. And then the next day, she's talking to you like you're about to get fired or you're about to get like, you know, um, have to come into the office and explain that you did something messed up, like a sexual harassment complaint or something. Not that I've ever been there, but you guys know what I mean. And that's a little jarring for men, and understandably so. Like, yeah, it sucks. Like you're going from hot, sexy, intimate, crazy girl to the your HR manager. And like in the description here, it's artificial, it's patronizing, and it's strangely humiliating. And guys can't really pinpoint why. A lot of them want the closure. Hey, why did you leave? Well, but it's still strangely humiliating because it puts you in the position of scarcity, right? Like, oh, I lost you. You owe me explanation because I'm not supposed to lose you. I'm desperate or something. So, moving on. All right. So the rejection matrix, why silence wins. And this is where I'm going to start explaining here why it's better to get ghosted than it is to get closure. So here we have the rejection matrix, why silence wins, right? And here on one column, we have the ghost, which is getting ghosted, and the HR paragraph, which is another column. So the clarity of decision. When you get ghosted, you get total clarity. Date is canceled, right? Like the only thing bad about being ghosted is if you're not experienced enough, you may get ready, show up and do everything, show up to the place and just sit there like for 30 minutes to an hour and she doesn't show up, right? But experienced guys know that you don't get up from your house unless she sends you the on my way text. So total clarity, date is canceled. It's just you're not going to find out earlier, or maybe as early as you'd like. HR paragraph, total clarity. Also, she's not showing up because she explained to you, hey, I'm not feeling this, whatever, in the HR language, therapy language, right? Um, yeah. Hey, what's up, Todd? Love the PowerPoint presentation format. No one has keys. Not. Yeah, I'm breaking it down to a molecular level. Like I'm trying to make it as easy as possible. Um, Clarity of reason. The ghost, it's ambiguous. And this is the part that guys don't like. When someone stops messaging you or ghosting you, you get it's ambiguous. Like, why? Like, did she find someone else? Did she get sick? Did her STD flare up? Is her husband back in town? Uh, did she get back with her ex? Is she just whatever? She's depressed, you know? You don't know. So guys were like, well, if I get closure, that I'll get that loop closed, and I don't always have to wonder in my head what I did wrong. But as you know, women are never honest about why they don't want to see you anymore. So you get a vague therapy language like needing space, or I'm not in the right headspace, or whatever. So, all right, now that we know that, let's look at the true beneficiary of each method of ending her association with you. When she ghosts you, uh, you're the beneficiary, right? Because when she goes to you, she's saving you time, right? Women often put off rejection as much as she can because women are not designed for conflict. They're afraid of turning down men. They're biologically afraid. That's why they kind of use this language. That's why they kind of put a lot of distance between you and her, and also like not text you for a long time to see if you get it, because they are conflict averse. So when she goes to you, she's saving you time, right? It's just that you have to be able to pick up on that signal. When she sends you the HR paragraph, she is the beneficiary because she's doing it for herself. She's relieving guilt and she's preserving her self image, which is the most important thing for her, uh, is her self image. Um, the next step. So when you get ghosted, you can move on immediately. You can text all day. She's gonna block you if you get too psycho. And then the HR paragraph is confusion, false hope, or temptation to argue. Right. Which is what a lot of guys do. This is the weird thing about getting ghosted. Right. When you get ghosted, there's nothing sent to you where it gives you an emotional reaction or a feeling. When you get a HR text, you may feel more tempted to be like, wait, but how about this, and negotiate and explain, hey, that's not fair, or get mad, right? So just take it for what it is, guys. Ghosting is the best because it's the least amount of time wasted. Serves it's ambiguous, but also not, it's ambiguous but honest, if you will. So, hey, good morning. All right. So, moving on. Let's see. Okay. So, let's break down right now hold on, let's break down the anatomy of the canned closer, which is the canned closer is a message that women all have in their notes app, or women have in their head, or wherever, where they are already prepared to stop associating with men, and they send this to all the men that they're not sure about, they kind of like, they don't know, and they change their mind, whatever. So, all right, the anatomy of the can closer. So here is what happens. They have this big mechanical funnel, and you have these several elements that go into making the HR rejection text or HR rejection document, and one of them is guilt relief. So she feels guilty. A lot of women, I know a lot of us think that women are these like evil automatons, blah blah blah, but they have feelings and they feel guilt. It's just that they prioritize themselves over the guilt. However, they don't like, no one likes feeling guilt, so we do things as humans to relieve ourselves of guilt. So that's one of the things that go into this message, is that she wants guilt relief. She wants to be off the hook. Um, the next one is AI prompts. So it's the age of AI, and what better way to put into words your feelings than using ChatGPT, and asking it to, like, hey, send in AHR text, or sorry, use therapy language to end a association. I don't want to see this guy anymore, but don't break his heart or don't hurt him, blah blah, right? And it'll pump out something great. And then you add a couple mistakes to make it seem real, and that goes into the canned closer as well. Another thing is the girlfriend consensus. She shows you to her girlfriends. Her girls are like, man, you can do better, blah, blah, blah. You guys know the rest of the story. So that goes into canned closer. The next thing is the Notes app templates. Women have a whole life in their Notes app. They have a lot of thoughts, and they'll copy paste or they'll draw inspiration from their Notes app and templates. And then ultimately is their own biology, which is conflict avoidance, right? And then it goes into this machine, conflict management, and out spits the HR rejection document. Usually it's a paragraph or two, right? Yeah. Do not treat the message like an intimate revelation. It's so key. Man, so many guys think it's time for them to send their own deep feeling response because of that false notion. Yeah, it's nothing to do with you. The rejection text is nothing to do with you. It's for her. So, yeah. Um, Guys, if you have questions, please super chat or use the link. And wait till the end. So I want to move through, but I will stop the show for super chats if you guys have them. Don't be afraid to ask your questions. All right, the unsolvable equation, right? So in arithmetic, in calculus, we have variables, right? We have X, Y, Z, whatever variables, and we move those around by process of elimination and association to solve for a certain variable, right? Basic algebra. Here's the thing: when you're trying to solve the equation of why she ghosted you, you may know one or two variables, like, oh, it was like one variable would be it is the weekend, so there's probably a lot of distractions. Like there's concerts, there's meeting outings with her girlfriend. Maybe she got too drunk and she's hungover, whatever. Right. So maybe that's one variable. Oh, it makes sense she would ghost me. But dude, there's so many variables that why are you wasting your time? Right. Focusing on like what else could be the issue? You will never know these variables, and there's too many. So it could be like, look, X, Y. Maybe you know X and you know Y reason, but you don't know like there's hormones, there's some anxious attachment. I don't know what that means, but hey, cool. Let's go with that. Maybe she's sad. There's an ex-boyfriend that she's fighting to get over or whatever. There's work stress. Work stress does not make people horny, at least outside of the military doesn't. In the military it does, but outside of the military it doesn't. And then you get ghosted because of 7 of these reasons. And look, the false conclusion. Men interpret ghosting as a direct verdict on their masculinity. Shit disappeared, therefore I failed. And guys, this is exactly where women want you, right? Remember, women want it to be easier to filter out men. So if you think you're a failure with women, you're filtering yourself out and you're doing their job for them, right? One rejection or one ghost or even 10 ghosts is not necessarily a reflection of your value as a man. You bring a lot to the world. However, uh, when it comes to this, if you give in, if you believe that you suck because one girl or two girls rejected you or didn't show up to a date, right? You are confirming what they think, that you weren't worth it in the first place, right? The world is going to fight you hard to lower your value, to make you doubt yourself, to put you in your place, and to eventually get all the sacrifice they need out of you while you're celibate, keeping your genes out of the pool. So the way you fight that is to simply not take rejection personal. Because when you don't take rejection personal, you get out there faster, you get to sleep with more women and faster because you're not mulling or thinking or deciding why one girl didn't like you, right? The reality check. You are attempting to solve an equation without possessing 90% of the variables. The missing variables rarely have anything to do with you. Operator's rule: audit your process, but do not prosecute your identity. And this is key, guys, because when you audit your process, that is a honest that is, you're this is what you're doing. When you're auditing your process, you're not beating yourself up. And this is the difference. When you prosecute your identity, you start thinking, man, I was never that great to begin with. I chose the wrong career path. It's because I'm short. It's because I'm this race. It's because I'm broke. Whatever, hey, I should, I'm not making 6 figures. That's why girls don't like me. whatever bullshit excuses you tell me, you tell yourself that's prosecuting your identity. That's going too hard on yourself. None of that is productive. You're going to make, if you just show up to work and you're smart and you do a decent job, you will get promoted, right? People leave the job, people die, people, other people above you get promoted. So by by process of time and elimination, you will get promoted. So that money will come. It may not be today, may not be in 2 years, but in 5 years, 10 years, you will be three positions above. And if not, you have to move somewhere else, right? However, none of that is damning or enough for a girl to be like, I'm sorry, he's not at this position in life, so I don't. Girls have sex with losers or lower status men a lot, right? More than you guys would think. Auditing your process is different, right? Auditing your process is what we do here. It's like, hey, um, maybe you invited her to a dingy, dirty place that she just didn't like. Maybe you are fat, right? Maybe when you met her, she was drunk and you were drunk. So she didn't have her head on straight. So it's not to say that like she won't show up ever, but that has a set. It has to say people make mistakes and like people they don't actually like when they're drunk. So don't beat yourself up. You also have probably smacked on some girls you didn't mean to mac on, and then when you woke up, were like, why did I text her this crap? What am I thinking? So don't take it personal. Audit your process, but do not prosecute your identity. So very important. All right. Hey chat. Hey, what's up? It's Jones. Exactly. She wants to trash to take herself out. Don't take yourself out. Don't be the trash that takes itself out. Have the world try to find what's wrong with you first. And often they will give up before they can find anything, right? The ghost is really a test, right? Yeah, it's not like, oh, I'm gonna ghost him to see him squirm. Some women do ghost just as a shit test, of course, but some women ghost because they're just not interested to you. The test is for yourself. How do you handle it? And the thing is here, uh, it's okay to be mad. It's okay to be a little bit frustrated. No one said that your emotions aren't valid. No one said that you're not allowed to get a little annoyed, ticked off, sad, whatever. No one said that. Um, but be patient with yourself. It's okay. Sometimes you meet a girl that you truly like, that has a lot of things that you like, and you got excited, and you're beating yourself up now because she rejected you and because you got excited. There's nothing wrong with that. But you don't be outwardly depressed and don't lash out at anyone. Don't, right? Just privately suffer. That's one of the skills that we as millennials, because we're in the age and Zoomers too, we as millennials and Zoomers, we have this inability to suffer privately. We need to post about every crisis we're having to internet strangers that don't care about us. We need to talk about everything on the internet where thousands, if not millions, of people can see. And we cannot wait until we get that validation. And then when the internet says we don't care or you're stupid, we're like heartbroken. We're like, how could you not validate me in my time of need? Because the internet, that's not what the internet's for. So, suffer privately, be mad, punch a wall, go to the gym extra hard the next day. But that feeling over time, if you're honest with yourself, is gonna go away. You're gonna recover faster from these things, and by the time you're gonna get to a point where you can tell a girl's gonna ghost before you even get ready or get dressed. You'll have a sense, and that's really what we want. Just a little bit of predictive power when dating. So, all right. Next one. Where were we? All right, the macro context, the accountability vacuum. So this is important because a lot of times, hold on, let me bring this up. This is important because a lot of men think that you can hold women accountable. And I know that, yeah, we're tired of saying that here on this side of the red pill. Oh, you can't hold women accountable. But it's let's flesh this out. There's this metaphor that I came up with like 2 years ago, right? Um, and I call it the kids in the mansion theory, right? And essentially, um, the metaphor is that society handed the keys to a mansion abandoned, like a big mansion, like very nice mansion. There's lots of sweets and candy in the fridge and lots of things to destroy. And we the kids are women. And we told women when they turn 18, here's the keys to the mansion. Have fun, do whatever you want. Right? We built them this mansion and we said, go, have fun. Right? Now, there are several types of men in this situation with kids in the mansion. And there's one type of man that's called the window bangers. And these are the men that they see the women go inside the mansion, and these women go crazy. They swing from the chandeliers, they slide down the stairs, they eat all the candy, they party, they break windows. They're just having fun. There's just girls having fun. But outside of the mansion, there's these guys called window bangers. They're banging on the window, trying to yell at the women, "Stop doing that! You're gonna regret it. You guys are gonna hurt yourself. Stop eating so much candy. Stop eating. Stop breaking. Stop swinging from the chandelier. You might get hurt. Right? Stop doing this. Stop doing that." And the girls see these guys banging on the window, and the girls are like, "Psst, don't care. Look at these weirdo." Right? And they just close the blinds, or they just stick their tongue out or whatever. Right? Standing outside demanding accountability or explaining why the behavior is wrong is a waste of energy. The noise inside drowns you out. Yeah, they're too loud. While you're yelling, "Hey, stop that!" They have the speakers on full blast. They're looking at like, who are those weirdos outside? I think they're trying to tell us to stop. Right? You cannot hold someone accountable for ghosting. You cannot force sincerity from someone who has already chosen withdrawal. You see what I'm saying? So we have this theory or this metaphor that I came up with about zero accountability. Now, there's a different type of man, and I forgot what I called them. Um, okay, so we have the players. I'm just gonna call them players. So in the mansion, we have players. All right. Hold on. Send super chats if you have questions. Okay, so we have the players, and the players essentially they see what's going on. They see the window bangers and how no one's listening to them and they're being made fun of. And they look at the girls and then they realize, wait, I can just go through the back door of the mansion and have fun with the girls, eat some of the candy, swing from the chandeliers, shotgun some beers with the girls, whatever, and then slip out. And I can do that as many times as I want as long as I'm not caught. And that's what the players do, right? They wait, they sneak in, the girls are like, "Hey, it's that fun guy." They have fun, and then they leave. And no harm, no foul. And the window bangers see this. And the window bangers are like, "You're enabling those girls partying in the mansion." Right? So that's what the players are. After about 10, 15 years, the girls are like tired and they're sick because they ate all the candy. They're hurt. They have injuries. They're broken half the mansion. And they look at everyone, especially the window bangers, and they're like, "Why did you let this happen? Look at us. We're all scratched up. I have a broken arm. The other person has a broken leg. We've two of the girls got into a fight. And some one of the girls got sick from eating all the candy and stuff and sweets in the fridge. Another girl threw up. Like, how could you? Why did you give us the keys to this mansion? How come you guys didn't, you know, right?" And that frustrates the window bangers. That frustrates the window bangers. There's a third type of person in this equation, which is the rarest, and those are I call them the special girls. And the special girls are girls that like, yeah, they look at the party and maybe they participate a little bit, but they look around, they're just like, "Hey, shouldn't we chill? Maybe swinging from the chandelier and eating 4 bags of gummy worms isn't." the best. Like maybe we should chill and wonder why they gave us this mansion and maybe not destroy it, you know? And the other girls made fun of those girls and be like, "You're such a loser, whatever." And the special girls often leave the mansion a little early, and they may either end up with a player on his way out or a window banger. But they leave because they're like, "This is too much. Like I know how this ends." Those are the rarest people in this whole metaphor. There's not enough of those to even like barely matter, but those are the women that are like, "Hey, I got to get out of here. This is crazy. Like I don't want to hang from the ceiling and hurt my back or get sick and throw up from eating so much candy and drinking stuff." So, yeah. So in this whole metaphor is essentially you guys have to understand that we've abandoned women. I know it sounds now like no, we're doing all these things for them. Like no, we've abandoned women. When you're raising kids, or when you're raising like a dog, or when you're dealing with a family member, and you've given up on them, what is the thing you do? You don't like throw them out in the street or something. You just give them what you just stop caring about teaching them anything, right? You just you throw the dog in the pasture and be like, "Hey, have fun, be home by dinner. I don't care. Just I'll feed you, whatever. Right? I'll keep you alive." When you're dealing with kids when men or people deal with kids that they don't want to raise, what do? They just give them expensive stuff like iPads and give them a nice iPhone like at 14 years old and let the screens raise them. They're like, "I don't care." Right? Those parents have abandoned their kids. They're not present. The parents are just like, "Hey, enough. Like I don't want to raise kids. Let's let screens and the internet raise them." So same thing here. We don't care about women, right? If we cared, then we would have been like, "Hey, you can't have all these rights and all these things because you're going to hurt yourself. You're going to end up sick, lonely, broken, sometimes physically hurt, broke, whatever." Uh, but we don't care. We only care that they're happy. We've abandoned them. So because we've abandoned them as a society, led them to their own devices, right? You being the type of person that wants to get a text back or a closure text or some kind of accountability for doing something like disappearing abruptly is like you being the window banger while these women are swinging from chandeliers and eating candy. And that is the perspective I want to give you in this grand scheme. And that is the macro context here. So I want you guys to think about that because you sound like a cornball to these women when you ask for closure, right? You have a choice here. You can be the guy that slips in the back, right? Has fun and then slips out, sometimes with a girl, or you could be the window banger where they're just going to close the blinds on you and laugh at you. Up to you guys. So hopefully I flesh. Yeah, why don't you like me? Like, what did I do wrong? Um, Hopefully you guys understand the difference of where you want to be. Those are your choices. You cannot be both, right? We've abandoned women completely. They're doing whatever they want all the time. Are there men that are going to go in and try to fix the mansion and try to fix everything and stock the fridge and check up on them to make sure they're okay? Yes. But in terms of romantic, like you could be the window banger, or you could be the player that slips into the back, right? So, yeah. Um, let's see. All right. So the entitlement illusion. We have here a little flow chart. Connection is not a contract. So we have intersexual interaction with men and women. And here we're going to get a little bit technical. And here we're going to talk about how do you behave around someone that stops talking to you abruptly, right? The pre-sex phase. You only know what she curated. If she ghosts, you are grieving a projection, not a person, right? So let me kind of make this more clear. In this section of the stream, I want to make it clear when and where to kind of mute, ghost, or block. Those are the sorry. when to mute or block, and when to continue their interaction or stop. Um, so let me see. Hold on. I had a list here. One second. Okay. So first off, blocking. You know, whatever social media app you meet her on, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, I don't know, wherever you can message a person, Twitter, God forbid Twitter. Blocking should not be an automatic response to ordinary ghosting. And here's why. Blocking implies an emotional response. It implies I'm angry at you. It implies that I took it personal. It implies that I took the time and effort to find your profile and block you because I'm better than you, right? That's what it's communicating. It may not seem like that to you, but it is what she sees. Like, oh wow, he really hurt. He's really hurt that that I didn't show up, whatever. So um and even if you do block, you're not even blocking the person. You're blocking the projection. You don't know anything. So you solve this by zero entitlement. You don't know her. You don't know her angle. You never knew her. You never will know her. So you treat her like you did before, like you never known her either. Right. Um I need you guys to understand too that post sex phase, uh, consensual sex is shared experience, not a moral obligation for continuation. Remember when I said earlier, hey, a lot of guys will get intimacy from women and will have that connection and will have like deep conversations and they'll feel like, man, this girl's really opening up to me, only to have her pull away completely and then even get the therapy HR text, right? Remember, she's not yours, it's just your turn. Every moment she's with you could be your last with her. So treat it as such. That doesn't mean give up hope in women, but it means, hey, due to the loss of restraints and like the loss of traditional and cultural structures that keep women around longer, um, those are gone now. So I have to treat you like someone with the ability to leave me because women often exercise that ability. So I'm not going to be the one here chasing you down and sad for 4, 5, 6 months up to a year, even more, because you left me. I'm going to accept that you can leave, and within a month or two, be hitting my stride and dating other women and getting on with it. You know, so and women would love you for you to not like she's not yours, it's just your turn as a phrase because it gives them power, gives them emotional power. Because what do women want more than for them to confirm that they made the right choice when they left you? Oh, he's a sopping sad mess because I left him. I'm glad I did because now I know who he really is. What a mistake. But if you understand that she's not yours, just your turn, and she leaves you, she's like, I knew I made a right choice. But then she sees you moving on, happy, recovering, vibrant social life, and with other women already, or at least, whispers that there's other women around you. She's going to be like, well, shit, I may have made the wrong choice. And she probably won't show up, but at least you'll have that dignity knowing that she didn't defeat you, that you were able to move on. And even if she doesn't think about you, it's for you ultimately, so you can get back on the saddle and live life and not be a depressed husk and your friends stop hanging out with you and you lose focus in life because of this, right? Um, yeah. In the zero accountability mansion, be the pizza delivery boy. Exactly. Slip in, have fun, and get out. So, alrighty. Um, let's see. Check my sources here. All right. So moving on to the next slide. Or let's see. Here we go. So what not to do? False recovery of control. All right. So here's what you don't do. Right here we have an XY axis. Post ghost actions and perceived male value. Right. You start at a certain male value. This doesn't mean that if you follow these rules, she's going to swing back. However, it will leave the door open. However, she won't try to blacklist you amongst her friends if you match with her friends. And trust me, if you're in a city, you will match with her friends, most likely. So, um, here's what you do: that you send an angry paragraph. You don't do that because now your perceived male value goes down. You demand explanations. What I do wrong? You're more. It plummets even more, and then you try to shame her. And now you go from just a guy I wasn't interested with to I need to make sure that no one ever sleeps with this loser. I will post them on Are We Dating the Same Guy page and say, be careful, this guy's an attached psycho. I will make a TikTok saying he's a loser. I will tell my girlfriends to like not match with him on Tinder, Bumble, whatever the kids are using these days. It is worse off if you write. There is no upside to sending an angry paragraph or asking what you did wrong or shaming. Zero. None of this is accountability. It is an emotional attempt to recover control after realizing you never possessed it, right? And I want you guys to understand something. And especially if you're a younger guy. I see a lot of videos of younger guys making approach in real life like street approaches content, right? They put on some Ray-Ban or Google glasses, whatever you call them, and they approach women. Now, are a lot of them, if not most of them, are a lot of them, if not most of them, uh, scripted? I would bet my ass that they are. Are some of them real? Yeah, some of them seem real. However, uh, you got a number, and the whole internet is like, "Wow, dude, that's the method, that's the hack, blah blah blah." Guys, numbers don't mean much anymore, right? Women, you know what would really help? I mean, it's illegal, but you know what would really help the dating discourse and on the internet is a cam where a guy sits on a date with a girl in front of him and then takes her home. That would break so much researchers, so much e-girls is what do you call it? E-girls' opinions on the internet. What that who's the gangbang girl Ella? She would break all her bullshit fucking surveys, which she thinks are science, um, just to have a one person on the internet in the real world have a normal interaction, normal day with a woman, and record everything he does, and then takes her back to her place. Obviously, cut off the camera when intimacy is about to initiate. But if that happened, right? If that happened, dating discourse would be changed forever because that is the one part of dating no one talks about. I mean, I talk about it, right? But the date, there's always the approach. There's always like get yourself in a party with lots of women, and then there's a how to deal with the breakup. Dude, what about the date? What happens the first date, right? Why? I wish we could. I know it would violate people's privacy. It's probably illegal, but I wish that I could do it one day. And put it like I wish that I could put the glasses on a guy that I've helped and have him do exactly what I tell him to do, avoid the topics, do the keynote escalation, and have everything down, and then take the girl home. And I'm live streaming it. Right. And I would just be breaking the fourth wall, looking at the camera and being like, because that's what these guys do on the internet. All they talk about is, look, I approached a girl, and everyone's like, wow, what a G. He has the method, or well, I'm like, yeah, dude, that's like 1% or 5% of the way. Like, you're celebrating victory, and I sound like a hater, but put it yourselves in the shoes of a guy that's trying to have a good date. You've watched 100 reels or TikToks about approaching women on the street. Now you got to talk to her for 2 hours. What are you gonna say? What are you gonna not say? Where are you gonna sit? Right? We can't record dates because it's illegal, because it's an intimate meeting between two people, right? But if we could, a lot of people, streamers, would be out of a job. right? A lot of them would be like, wow, this guy didn't even say anything crazy. Wow, this guy has her talking about an emotional time as a child. Wow, this girl is asking to do shots with him. How does she get her to open up? Wow, this guy has his hand on her thigh and she's liking it. She's smiling. Wow, this guy's leading her through a crowd of women or a crowd of people at the bar. Wow, this guy's taking her to a nice another area. Wow, this guy's kissing her behind a dumpster behind the bar. You know, wow, this guy is preparing her a drink at his place. Wow, this guy is kissing her on the balcony with this view of the city. Boom. That would help young men 1,000 times more than all this, right? And that's the problem with my content is the proof of concept would be there, but I can't give you guys proof of concept, excuse me, unless you guys try it. Right. I seem confident and I know what and I'm very convinced of what I'm talking about. And I have conviction, but I cannot go on a date. First off, because I'm in a relationship, but number two, I cannot go on a date and put on the Google glasses or the Ray-Ban AI glasses or whatever and record it. No one can because it's illegal. So because it's illegal and no one can, no one cares about that part because it doesn't. Yeah, meta glasses. There you go. Thanks, Tom. Todd. So you see the whole and understanding and whole, and that's why a lot of guys stop the watching the red pill stuff and the dating stuff. It's because they don't get the help they need on like a date. Like, yeah, she's not yours, it's just your turn, bro. Yeah, dude, great. That's very good. But you know, where do you sit in the place? What if she starts talking about her ex? How do you divert that back to something else, right? And we're losing recipes, man. So, anyways, before I ramble on too much, all right. So let's see. All right, the practice paradigm, and this is 9. Let's take a quick break, and we will be back. Where is it? All right, and we're back. The practice paradigm. So the reframing. Every interaction, especially the ones that end in ghosting, is intersexual practice. It is data collection, not high stakes performance. Observe behavioral patterns, identify the covert contracts of presenting classiness versus actual behavior. Refine your own logistical boundaries. The result, you level the playing field by accumulating the knowledge necessary to protect your time and emotional bandwidth when the right opportunity eventually arrives. Um, okay, now this is the part where we get practical, where we get very practical and we get very nitty gritty to things that work and things that will help you guys. And for those that know, this is a good refresher because it still helps everyone. Um, okay, what are ways we can stop getting ghosted or at least make it so that the woman is less likely to ghost us? Now, here, if you think I am contradicting myself from the beginning, you are wrong because again, remember when I said audit the process, not prosecute your identity? This is what I mean. You can get ghosted by a girl and not take it personally and still look at them like, maybe what are things I could do better? Right. And one of them is refining your logistics. So, hey, maybe instead of getting a place that's far away from her, get a place that's closer to both of you. Name more importantly, you. Instead of getting ready and showing up to the date right away. Wait till she says, "I'm on my way," then get ready. And don't or like some guys, like I used to have my places were down the street, so I would shower, I would put on cologne, I would do everything except put on clothes. I'd be in a bathrobe or pajamas, and when she said, "Hey, I'm looking for parking," I would put on my clothes, walk out the door, and be like 5 minutes late, you know? So, that's what I would do. Those are and maybe the ghosting still happened, but at least I didn't show up and get angry, and that anger, like, prevented me from moving on faster, right? These are things you can do. So this is what we mean by refining logistics and not and auditing your process, right? Um, let's see if there's anything else that comes to mind. Uh, let's see. Oh, here's another one. I call this the day of the date enthusiasm check. So sometimes you'll have to, whether you like it or not, schedule a date a couple days in advance. Now, it's not your fault. Maybe you matched on a Friday or a Saturday. She's not available till Tuesday. So you gotta like just wait it out. Most likely she may flake because it's too many days, too many things, right? But always on the day of the date, send a feeler, like a day of the date enthusiasm check, I call it. And what that is essentially send a light check-in earlier in the day, like around 10 a.m. Maybe she settled at work, got her morning meetings out the way, whatever. And this could be like an inside joke, a funny picture of your dog, a meme related to the conversation you had, a playful reference to the venue. Um, and then a brief confirmation when logistics require, like not in a needy way, just be uh, what I would say is, I'm more excited than I thought to go to try this place, right? Something like that. Very light, very casual, not like a very just to see what her response is, right? And what this measures is warmth, response speed relative to her normal habits, playfulness, reciprocal conversation, voluntary mention of the date, right? Like if you say something like, uh, "Hey, I'm kind of looking forward to this place, to go into this place." And she says something like, "Yeah, I'm glad you planned it." That's good sign. That's a good sign. Sometimes they'll give me clear confirmation. They'll be like, "Yeah, I'll see you there at 8." That's a really good sign, right? If she confirms it and remembers the time and texts it right back to you that from something you texted 2 days ago, right? That means that there's like continuity in the conversation. That means that she's focused, that she's invested because she remembers something she texted 2 days ago, which is really good sign. And then continued enthusiasm, right? The best thing would be like the most enthusiastic women that I knew were coming no matter what. Were one woman that texted me from that check-in text all the way until the time of the date, right? The only time they would stop texting me is because they were showering or getting ready, right? Yeah, so yeah, and the thing is, listen, it is more expensive. Of course it is. But think of it like this. A lot of the costs I mitigated also because everything was in walking distance. So instead of driving 10 miles to my gym, I drive 1 mile. Instead of driving every time I need to send a package or mail, I just walked across the street. Or if I wanted to go to a coffee shop, or if I wanted to hang out or do something fun, everything is near almost walking distance, right? Dog parks, coffee shops, mail rooms, restaurants, bars, date spots. All that saves you money because you're not hopping in a car, you're not paying parking, all that stuff. And I'm not saying it's gonna make up for the extra rent you pay, but there is a get back. You do get a chargeback or a rebate on your living downtown, right? And also, you kind of meet better people. The amenities of your apartment are better, the pool, and you put yourself around kind of like it almost feels more like a community, I would say. If you're in the suburbs, it's more isolated because there's fences and there's different races and backgrounds and age groups and stuff. When you live where I live, it's all like late 20s, early 30s people up to like 40s. And it's like, that age group is, and we're all kind of like career minded, more professional, more chill, you know. So yeah. All right. So another thing I want to do is like don't take the feeler text and her response as 100% like law or fact. If she responds, it does not automatically mean that she's going to show up no matter what, right? But it's just a good sign. It's a good signal. So a woman may reply warmly and still flake. She may respond dryly and still arrive. I have had moments where a girl would I text her at 10 a.m. Blah blah. Hey, here's a meme or here's a picture of my dog, and the date was at 8:30, and she wouldn't text me till 7:45 and be like, "Hey, I'm getting ready." I'm like, "Holy shit! I was expecting you not to show up." But and then conversely, I've had women like, "Yeah, you're awesome, cool. You're so hot. You're a hot man. Like, I can't wait to meet you." And then 7 p.m. Hey, sorry, something came up. Right? It's not conclusive. It's just a signal. It's just something to get to just kind of like, like, what's your angle? Is she gonna show up? Give you something. Um, Ignore the message. Sometimes, yeah, they ignore the message and nevertheless show up, and then confirm and cancel later. Right? The key line here is the day of the text is a weather forecast, and not a signed contract. Right? So that's another way to mitigate the ghosting and or at least the anger that comes with it. Right? Because if you get it early on, if you get okay, if I would send the text at 9 or 10 a.m., the feeler text, and I don't get an answer by 2 p.m., right? Here's what I think in my mind. I'm going to start planning a night in, or maybe I'll call another girl to like come over, say, hey, what you up to? Not like invite, make. So I would just make tentative plan, like, hey, what you up to tonight? Like around 2 p.m., like to another girl, right? Or I would just, watch a movie, like get ready to watch a movie, go out and buy snacks, like prepare myself. So when she says the blah, blah, I'm already like in pajamas, in a shirt, feet up, relaxing. Or another girl is waiting for me to confirm so she can come over. Right. So it's not supposed to make you less, like, it's not supposed to solve the ghosting issue. It's not supposed to make you not frustrated permanently, right? It's just a little bit of foresight and a little bit of edge so you can kind of predict or have a little, at least a bit more predictive power than before, right? So, all right, we got a $10 super chat from Todd. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, best friend.
All right, Todd with the $10. Thank you, sir. Some guys say after she goes and hits you back up to act as if nothing happened and continue the interaction. What's your approach when that happens? Someone's getting ahead in the stream, and we were about to hit that topic next because this can get a little bit complicated, right? And this is one of the most complicated parts of dating. This whole when to ghost, when to block, when to mute, because there's a place and time. Now, you can block, and the interaction is there's no big deal, right? I mean, it is a big deal, but it isn't at the same time, and I'll explain. But we're about to get there. Let me make sure there is anything I left out. Um, okay, kids in the mansion, window banger, special. Okay, so before we get into this part, Todd, oh, thank you, sir. You get a $6 shrimp special. Where is it?
Jesus answered, I am the way and the truth and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. $6 shrimp special!
All righty. Thank you, Nish. I appreciate it. Okay. Yeah, I'll be answering my own time. All right, cool. All right, so I use this analogy too when I came up with it. It's very personal to me. Being a nuke was not easy. There were days where, life would hammer you pretty hard. You're out at sea 30 to 40 days at a time. You miss your family, you miss the USA, you miss the comforts of a normal life. And the workload was brutal sometimes. And everyone else was also depressed, and you didn't get treated the best. So not the greatest time of my life, but there were little things I had to do to preserve my mental health and my little like little things that made me happy. And one of the things that made me happy were that despite all the food not being great on an aircraft carrier, the cookies, the chocolate chip cookies were amazing. They were my favorite thing on the ship, chocolate chip cookies. So I would go to Chow or the galley to eat, and people would be cutting. I'd be pissed. Had a long day. I'd be sweaty. We were in the Middle East, whatever. And then I'd get my food. The food was like slop sometimes. I'm like, whatever, I'll eat it. But at the end of the line were always these cookies, and they would be wrapped in plastic, and I would always grab one. Even if I didn't want one, I would grab one. Why? Because in 2 hours, 4 hours, or the next day, I might want a cookie. So I would never close the opportunity to get a cookie because I didn't want one in that moment or couldn't have one in that moment, right? That doesn't mean I took 2 cookies because I wanted everyone to get one in the line. I wasn't selfish asshole like that. But what I did was they were wrapped in plastic. I would just put them in my pocket. And my pockets were deep. Sometimes I would forget that I had a cookie in there. So, fast forward the next day. I'm having a bad day. I didn't have time to eat breakfast. So I'm working on paperwork. I'm a little frustrated. I didn't get to eat. I'm getting hungry and whatever. And I have a cup of coffee. It's early, 6 in the morning, traveling in the middle of the ocean. And I just reach in my pocket looking for a pen or something. And then I'm like, oh, wait, hold on. What is this? And I pull out a cookie. And I'm like, holy crap, this just made my morning. Now I have a cookie and coffee, and I won't be as hungry. And I get to enjoy my favorite thing on the ship that I forgot I had in my pocket. And boom, that's the cookie in the pocket theory. Now, like, map that onto women and dating. There are times where you mute and block. There are times where you don't do any of that. But look at it like this. Let's say you had a date with a woman and she showed up and it went well and you kissed. Maybe you got a little intimate. Maybe she pulled a titty out or something, whatever. And halfway through, she says, I can't, blah, 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 whatever. And you're like, okay, that's fine. And then she leaves. She leaves your apartment. Are you going to block her then? Most guys would be like, yeah, no, that's a little much. I got to second base, so a little titty action doesn't merit block. But a lot of guys are just like, especially guys that are inexperienced, will want the closure text, or like, oh, this girl left me hanging, and she didn't want a second date, blah blah blah. But hey, you got farther with her than 99.9% of men ever could. So here, how about we do this, right? You send the morning after text, right? Hey, I had a good time, thanks. And even if she doesn't respond, you don't need to respond. Just send that text, and then leave the door open. Don't ask her for closure. Don't keep messaging her after the good morning text. Don't block her. Don't mute. Don't ask for closure. Nothing. Just leave it there. And here's the important part. Maybe more often than you think, she'll swing back around, because maybe the ex that she was trying to get back with is permanently gone because he's gone with another girl. Or maybe she is finally confident enough to fuck a guy after a date. A lot of women have been in marriages for like 10 years and they get divorced. And the concept of going home with a guy, I know they're horny, but they want to date a guy 5 or 6 times, right? They're still in monogamy mode because they find it crazy that to go home with a guy on the first date. It's crazy. Some girls are whatever. You don't know, right? That's the point of the show. You don't know why she ghosted you. However, leave the door open, right? And when she swings around, don't bring up the fact that she ghosted you ever. Just pick up exactly where you left off. She did nothing wrong to you. I know you spent the money on the date. I know you had to plan it. And I know she left you with blue balls or you were so close. But still, she doesn't owe you anything. Legally, emotionally, nothing. She popped out a titty. That's all that happened. Leave the door open and you'll be surprised. More often than not, a girl will swing around. You'll rematch on Tinder, Hinge, or she'll send you a message. She'll also see you at an event if you have close social circles. And she'll just stare at you and she'll be like, why don't you say hi to me? And it's happened to me multiple times. I don't know. I didn't know who you were. I always like, you looked familiar, but I wasn't sure. Well, we matched once. I'm like, oh, cool. And then it's like, oh, okay, cool. You act like, oh, really, really? Oh, well, it's nice to meet you again. It's nice to meet you again. And you just don't shame her, don't bring it up, and enjoy your sex, dude. Why this is so effective? This cookie in the pocket theory is so effective. There are going to be weeks, God forbid, months, where you're not going to be on your most confident self. You're not going to be the most confident self. You're going to suck. You're going to have some outside thing like the death of a family member. You may have a breakup. You may get sick. You may get injured or you can't leave your house. Something may happen to your mind that may knock you off center. You'll you'll, what do you call it? What are the, man, you'll fall off, essentially. You just have a fall off. It would be nice that all these rejections that you had in the past when you were in your peak dating days, maybe 6 months ago, a year ago, it would be nice if you kept all those doors open, right? Because maybe when you're sat in your apartment, a girl saying, "Hey, what's up? I saw this and I thought of you. What are you doing?" Right? Wouldn't it be nice to just have that, have a girl show up just simply because you didn't get in your ego because a girl almost had sex with you or had sex with you and bounced or anything, right? So yeah, cookie in the pocket. Leave that cookie in your pocket. And when you're sad, angry, mad, unable to date, or just want something different, that girl may show up again, and you don't. It's almost like a freebie. It's like you invested and you got lucky, and that interaction sprouted into something new, right? Are there situations where this won't work? Yes. So you cannot do this with someone that did not show up on the date, that you did not have an interaction with, right? Um, so if you plan the date and she never shows up, even if she gives you the closure text, she's never gonna want to see you ever. Like I have never had that where a girl didn't show up on a date and then decided, you know what, I changed my mind, and then a month, 2 months later, shows up again. It may have happened to you guys, but I don't bank on it. I don't mute, I don't block, I just unfollow if I'm following them on Instagram, or I delete their number off my phone because you don't want that reminder constantly that she goes to you. So unfollow, delete number if you have it. Don't block, don't mute, because here's what could happen. If you delete her number, she could text you one day, you won't recognize the number, and you can be like, who is this? And that a lot of the times turns women on. They like that. They like that you don't know who she is when you text her. And maybe you can start something again. She could explain, "Oh, it's me, blah, blah." But don't hold your breath. And if women like that do come back in your life, right? It's shit or get off the pot. It's, hey, let's come over. I'll make you some dinner. Like, make it obvious that you're not here to play around. We're not doing this dance again. Like, it is your turn to prove to me that you want me. And that is by putting yourself in an even more intimate place than before. And if she still says no or pushes back, then hey, there's a reason. Like you're not her time-o. You're not there to make her feel better because some other guy dumped her or rejected her, right? Which is what most likely she's using you for when they swing back around after never having met you. So yeah. Uh, Khalil, man, I'm having the total opposite of this issue. I can't get rid of my two girls, crank beta alpha to 11, gaslighted them, did every trick in the book. They're still here and won't leave. Well, there's only one thing you could do. Tell them you're gay. But that probably make them like you even more. They'll see it as a challenge. So, all right. Yeah. Yeah, thank you. So yeah, it's important because this is the practical side. This is the shit that really like we can actually use. Um, so let's talk about when to mute. Right, let's talk about muting. All right. Okay, so muting. Muting is often the most proportionate tool in modern dating. You mute. Here's when you mute, guys. You do not need to see her stories. Her posts encourage overanalysis. You share a social circle. Blocking would create unnecessary drama, and you want emotional distance without symbolic finality. Right. So mute after a successful date or sex. Why? Because it keeps that mystery, and you're not constantly seeing her stories, and it your hamster's gonna start going like, where is she here? What is she doing here? Is she seeing another guy? What is this? Why is she doing this? Oh shit, she probably saw me looking at her story, and then you lose a little bit of aura. Just mute. She won't see it. She won't know that you're like that you're looking at her story, so you won't feel like that. Oh crap! Now she thinks I'm weird because I'm looking at her story or something. You won't feel the temptation to message her a fire emoji under her story or anything like that. You will simply not see her, and it'll be a sexier interaction because the only time you ever want to hear about her is in person, and that is what humans are designed to do. We're not supposed to know about each other unless we're in person, right? So, what's up? Yeah, I know. But practice paradigm it includes all this stuff, right? Um, so yeah, I'm just answering Todd's question right now here. And so muting is great after a good date, um, because you don't want premature intimacy, right? You're gonna monitor who's coming on her post, who she follows. Oh no, she's following a blue check celebrity, or a blue check celebrity is following her. I'm cooked, bro. I'll never get laid. I'm like, that doesn't help your mind. That doesn't help you at all. Who cares who she follows? But you don't want to know. You don't want to know. Your job is to have sex with her, right? And you'll be surprised that looking back, there are women that have told me who have slid in their DMs, and I'm like, wow. And I was hooking up with them for a while, and I was like, oh, cool, right? One of I dated a girl briefly who DM'd me a one of the biggest meme pages in the country, and she said, "Do you know this guy?" I'm like, "Yeah, I like his stuff. He's funny, he's hilarious. I've been featured on his page multiple times by tweets recently in the last 2 years." And she said, "Oh, well, he slid in my DMs." I'm like, "Oh, cool." But if I would have known that earlier, I'm not saying that I didn't have the game to deal with it, but it wouldn't have helped. So, um, yeah. So, yeah, you don't want to see like the men appear in her stories. Another thing is that you may see a guy that you might know, and you might get like, oh, like I know that guy. This is weird now. Like you just don't want to know anything about her life. Um, you start overanalyzing everything she posts, where she is. Let's say she cancels plans, and now you're looking at her doing something else. Like like just it's better not to know. So mute as soon as you get her Instagram. Mute, 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 and focus on in person, right? And then for when you were younger, you'd look at a Facebook post and be like, "Oh, she's talking about me. If the shoe fits, whatever." Um, so discover each other through dates, not Instagram stories. Social media for communication, not intimacy. Muting should not be used to manipulate her, manufacture scarcity, or make her wonder why you stopped watching. Mute her for your attention, not for her reaction. Right? So, okay. And then quickly, let's talk about when you should block. Um, when you should block. Hold on. All right. Where is it? I had it here. Okay. So I'll just go off the dome. You should block when it's causing you emotional damage or legal damage in your life, right? If you have a woman that's a little bit crazy and giving you threats, maybe you gave her 10 out of 10 D by accident, then maybe blocking is a good idea to keep you safe. Also, if you like break up with a girl that you loved, or you know, you got caught up and you caught feelings for a girl, and she did something to you, or you know, made you embarrassed you, humiliated you, right? Blocking her may help you kind of like help the algorithm kind of push her away in her circle of friends and all that stuff away from you, right? So in those two situations, it is necessary to block. But don't block after she ghosts you after having sex. Don't block after she never shows up for a date, because that's an emotional reaction, right? It's a little bit too much. But other than that, in those two situations, block. So, all right, let's go back. Let's go to the next one. Next slide. All righty. Logistical defense number one, the exposure curve, the on my way text behavioral confirmation. This is what we talked about earlier. Yeah, we talked about day of enthusiasm checks and the light, low investment message, meme, inside jokes to gauge the temperature, not to ask, are we still on, right? Just check. You don't have to say, hey, are we still on? Just say, remember this that we talked about, or, you know, something that alludes to earlier in the conversation, to see how engaged she is with you and the plans in the conversation. The on my way rule. Do not fully prepare final outfit, calling a car, sitting at venue until she confirms she's physically traveling with on my way. We talked about that. Key benefit turns a ghost from a ruined, expensive evening into a minor relevant scheduling change. So yeah, it's pretty simple, guys. These are ways to lessen the chances and the blow that you get from being flaked or ghosted. So, all right, next one. All right. So, logistical defense 2, low cost architecture. Do not build high cost logistics around low certainty people. She's a stranger. You don't know her. She's probably attractive because you like her. So she has offers. She cannot afford going on 40, just like you cannot afford $200 dates twice a week. She cannot afford 45-minute travel there and back to you. She has a life. She has other offers. She has work in the morning. So make it easy for her. Get something close. And if you only have 30 minutes, make it worth her while, right? Make it a special night out, because she already is saying, I like you and I'm willing to drive 45, 30 minutes for you. So most women won't. And can you blame them, right? Choose early date venues close to your home base. Minimize financial and travel exposure. The date must fit seamlessly into your existing life routine. Do not suspend your life for the date. Yeah, don't go too much out of your way. Yada yada yada. So, okay, moving on. Post-date operations, the mute function. We talked about this earlier. Here's kind of like a breakdown or a recap, guys. And if you guys have any questions before we get to the anonymous question section, please ask. I will stop the show, but continuing on. Noise, dating digital footprint, IG story views, vague quotes, online status monitoring. You get all these weird signals, but this is what you want a constant normal signal. You don't want any noise that could distract you from the interaction, right? So we have the danger. Early dating becomes distorted when you consume constant digital information without real world context. The solution, your social media after successful date. Discover each other through real dates, not Instagram stories. You are removing the noise to protect emotional distance, not removing the woman, right? It is not something you're doing because you can't control yourself. It's to enrich the experience and sharpen your game, right? That's all it is. It's just a tool. Mute. So, all right. Retaining optionality. We talked about the cookie in the pocket. Connection fades. Path A, you can burn the bridge or block it. You get some ego preservation because you're like, I taught that bitch a lesson, or I don't let any girl get away with, I don't let her get away with that treatment of me. And then the result is zero optionality. You taught her a lesson, bro, but now you've closed the door permanently. All she did was have sex with you or kiss you and not talk to you again. And you decided that you deserved more. And now she owes you more. And because she didn't give you that, now your ego is hurt. because you're so awesome, you think all women owe you sex and therefore association and eventually a relationship. That is your ego preservation. And then you know what that ends up with? Zero sex, because you cannot talk women into the bedroom. No one ever reasoned a woman into the bedroom. No one ever. So, all right, let's go back to the smart version of this. Connection fades. Path B. You leave the door open and walk away. She sends a text that's saying, "Hey, I'm not feeling this." You don't answer, or you say, "KK, cool, good luck." Or you've been having sex with her for months, and she says, "Hey, I'm seeing someone now." You say, "Hey, good luck. Don't mess this up." Right? I'm rooting for you. Or you kiss, you make out, she pulls a titty out, she leaves it at that. You really want to hook up, but you can't. So instead of being like, "Hey, what was that? Can we keep going?" Let's, and she doesn't say anything, just leave the door open, whatever version of leaving the door open, we talked about. You apply the cookie in the pocket strategy. Result: zero emotional cost today. Retain optionality for the future. Will most women come back? Probably not. Will some women come back? Yes, because if there's anything women like, it's a man that they feel like they can reject and nothing can happen. It may not mean she's always going to have sex with you, but man, do they respect that in a man, right? So the tactic is, unless there is a safety risk or extreme disrespect, like maybe she says something really racist about you without knowing you like that. Maybe she says something so politically radical that you're just like, "Hey, I'm sorry, I'm turned off." Right? Whatever. Never block a casual ghost. Right? The logic: external conditions change. An open door requires zero emotional maintenance. You just don't respond to the text and you keep it moving. That requires zero emotional effort on your part. If she returns months later, you retain the upper hand. "Hey, what's up? What are you doing? Hey, what's up? So what are you up to?" "Well, I'm at home. You want to watch a movie?" Boom. Enjoy your sex because you're a smart guy and you let your ego get in the way. All right. The architecture of dignity. Nice, man. You won. Now what? Exactly. Architecture of dignity. Zero entitlement, emotional distance, and low cost logistics. These are the three gears that'll keep you getting laid and not freaking out over every ghost. The synthesis: dignity is not achieved by confronting the ghost or demanding respect from a chaotic market. I'm going to say that again. Dignity is not achieved by confronting the ghost. "Hey, why did you do this?" That is not a dignified thing to do. It's actually the opposite, right? The flywheel. Dignity is achieved by building an integrated logistical framework that makes ghosting inexpensive and irrelevant. You build the date spots and the logistics. When the ghosting does happen, it's less painful and less expensive, less time consuming. "Hey, I planned a date down the street or in the neighborhood over. She didn't show up. Oh, it didn't cost me anything because I'm close anyway. I wasn't planning or didn't have to plan for going on a date across the city and I didn't have to make reservations. I didn't have to do this, didn't have that." Right? So yeah, the state of operation. Your life continues unabated, whether she arrives or disappears. The stay plan is the same as the go plan, right? And you can be mad. Again, you can be mad. You can be frustrated. Um, you can be everything, but just don't show it. Sit with your feelings for a while. Tomorrow's another day. It is what it is. There's nothing you can do, right? And then finally, the closing statements of this presentation. Do not be upset at the ghost. In many cases, she helped keep your dignity intact. And it may not make sense to new guys there, but when a girl just ghosts, it's honest. And you know what the most dignifying thing you can do for someone is honesty. A therapy message, an HR message that "I don't want to see you because I just need space right now," whatever bullshit, is lying. It is not for you. It's for her to feel good because she's guilty, right? It's not honest. It's not respectful. the most respectful thing is that she let it go and not talk to you. And that's why ghosting is better than the closure text or explanation as to why she doesn't like you anymore. It is honest. And what do we like? Hoes that are honest. So, yeah. So, what do you guys think of that presentation? Did you like it? Have any questions about it? Let me know. I think it's based on my earlier work, but I'm glad we covered the when to mute, when to block, when to do nothing. I'm glad we covered why ghosting is better than getting the "you're gonna hate me" text or whatever. We also covered the kids in the mansion theory, which is important as to so you guys can conceptualize why asking for women to be accountable to their actions is such a waste of time. It's because we've abandoned them, right? So, yeah. So, glad we covered all of those things. So, let me get rid of this. So, essentially, that's what we talked about. Uh, again, the goal is to make ghosting inexpensive. We're gonna bringing these practical and philosophical points together. You can never eliminate ghosting. You can only reduce the cost. In review, choose a venue near your home. Send the light day of check-in text or message. Assess enthusiasm without assessing. She's actually messaging me back. Oh, she sent me a meme back, or hey, she sent me a cute dress, or she sent me something that she's like engaged. She's remembering a text from 2 days ago or a day ago. She's like in it. She hasn't checked out of the conversation yet. You wait for an on my way text before leaving or fully preparing to leave your house. You avoid excessive early investment, right? You don't you don't plan something super nice for a stranger you don't know. And you don't talk to her like you're gonna go out. Like, don't plan the second and third date, right? You do not ask for closure. Obviously, we harped on that a lot. Do not send angry accountability paragraphs. That's a given. Mute social media when it distorts perception. You had a good date, you meet her, mute right away. You are apart from the guys that are foaming at the mouth to get with her. You are the guy that's smashing her. That's your role. It's not to pay attention to her social media. That's not your job. You can only block when emotional or physical protection requires it. You are so hurt, which, hey, I'm a human, you're a human, it happens. Or physical protection, like she's threatening you, or she is a little bit crazy, or whatever. And then continue living and dating like nothing happened. Move on. It is what it is. I stopped trying to make ghosting impossible, but I also made it very inexpensive. Your dignity as a man does not require an explanation. Ghosting may be rude. I know this, guys. It sucks. There have been times where I was like, wow, really? Wow. But the closure paragraph is often canned, AI generated. Her friends probably gave her the text, whatever. It's evasive and is written primarily to manage her guilt. And men do not need forced explanations from women who have already withdrawn. We prefer don't waste your time, don't waste ours. Right? You cannot compel honesty from women. You cannot enforce remorse from women. You cannot demand attraction from women. And you cannot guarantee another date ever. And you cannot hold someone accountable through a text lecture. However, you can protect your time. You can control your logistics. You can regulate your investment, decide what access she receives later, and continue with your life. So, a dignified man does not need to punish the ghost. You don't need to punish women. You don't need to beg the ghost for closure or pretend the ghost never affected him. That's the important part. Be mad. There are some girls out there that are good at tricking you into that you're into them. They will kiss you right away. They will send you nudes. They will they will sext you. They will make you feel like a man. They will make you feel like you're the shit. And when they ghost, it's okay to feel bad and shitty. But he accepts the message contained in the silence, adjusts his behavior, and he moves forward without turning one woman's withdrawal into a judgment of what? His entire value. I hope that resonates with you guys because that's very important. This is going to solve 50% of your dating problems. Because it all boils down to this: covert contracts, entitlement, not understanding women's agency, wanting to hold women accountable. Once you get over those things, you understand those things, you're going to want women to cancel. And that's ultimately the final test of abundance. When you schedule a date with an attractive woman and you secretly wish that she cancels so you can go do something else, because you know in your mind that even if you have an attractive chick cancel on you, there's always going to be another one, and it's soon. It may not be tomorrow, may not be next week, but it's soon. So hopefully that presentation helped you guys out. If you have any questions on the matter on that, please super chat. But we're going to move on to anonymous questions from you guys, the viewer. Let me open my Not Gonna Lie app and see what messages I got. I got a holy shit, I got a whole bunch. All right. So first one. Wait, did I already? Oh, 1 hour ago. Okay. When I'm crap. All right. First one. My girl keeps bringing up how guys flirt with her and other interactions in order to make me jealous. How could I navigate this effectively? Well, you just tell her, you got to agree and amplify, dude. Right? Women love controlling us with jealousy. They love it. They love seeing us squirm. So you got to agree and amplify. When she brings that up, tell her, hey, why don't you consider one of them? Maybe you'd be happy. Agree and amplify. When in doubt, agree and amplify. This is a test. If there's anything where you feel like, why is she saying this? This is kind of rude or messed up. Always go with that. It shows you're unafraid to lose her and you pass the shit test, right? Now, if it gets to the point where it's just like she goes out of her way to make every conversation about this, then at that point you can be like, hey, I don't care. Right? I don't care. If you like those guys, go with them. Right? But at first, keep it light, be like, hey, why don't you give them a chance then? Who knows? Right? Yeah, it's like, don't eat paint, right? All right. My girl keeps bringing up how guys flirt with her and other interactions in order to make me. Oh, wait. I think we just answered that. Okay. When I'm dating girls, I'll often say, you used to be so nice after a few months. Does my calibration on the alpha beta need work? I might be overcompensating on the alpha side to avoid slipping into previous blue pill habits. Would love some advice. Okay. The only thing that matters is she's still having sex with you with the same enthusiasm, then none of that matters. Who cares? If she's having sex with you with the same enthusiasm, um, and words don't matter. Look at her actions. Right? Now, is she saying this and becoming more and more unpleasant? Um, then yeah, then what's the point of dealing with women if you're gonna have a bad time? Right? Sex isn't worth, yeah, maybe once in a while, like dealing with a bitchy chick if you have to, right? But for the most part, 90% of the women you should deal with, you should be having a good time. So it's just a shit test again. Um, be playful response is always the best. Always playful, right? And as long as the sex is the same, the enthusiasm is the same, the relationship may have changed a bit because of time. It's been a while, but realize too that a lot of girls don't like it when you bypass their hypergamous filter. Maybe during the beginning of the relationship, you used a little bit too much of like being nice, right? You got laid, things went well, but maybe you presented a version of like you presented boyfriend material, right? And she's like, "Oh, this guy might be boyfriend material." And for what it's worth, maybe that's not what your intention was, but maybe you kind of like here's what happens with a lot of guys. They'll hook up with a chick a couple times and then they start doing like, "Hey, spend the whole weekend with me." Or, "Hey, let's, spend Christmas together." Or all these things, right? Those are signals. Those are, "Hey, I want to be your boyfriend" signals. You may not see it like that. You may be like, "Okay, cool. I get to fuck a chick all weekend and play video games and chill." But she sees it as, "Oh my God, he wants me to be his girlfriend." And then she'll kind of like, that's the narrative she's going to go with. And then if you don't do that for a while and you still treat her like, like she's just a whatever girl from that you met from the street, she's going to start questioning, "Hey, like, what am I? You treat me like a girlfriend, but then you, and some girls are attracted to that in and out, but just realize that could cause problems because you went too hard on the boyfriend stuff. A lot of guys think that they have to game long-term casual relationships or girls you date casually. I'm telling you right now, the least amount of game you ever have to use on are women that have chosen you to just be the sex guy, right? All she needs from you is to treat her politely and fuck the shit out of her and not ask her for commitment because you're the guy she's using for sex until she finds a boyfriend. So maybe the presentation, you presented her too much boyfriend signals in the beginning. So, all right, moving on. Next message. Should I keep my apartment a mess to signal that I'm not LTR material? No. As a matter of fact, having a bomb ass apartment that's well organized, like mine's a little messy right now because they're fixing my office room, so I got to push all this furniture here. But if you have a nice apartment with like uh lighting, low lighting, and like nice picture, nice decor, and everything clean, women are gonna assume more that you're a kind of like the fun guy, bachelor, more than if you have a messy place, right? Having a very well decorated apartment is more of an indicator that you have hoes than not. So, not that any of that matters. You probably want a clean apartment for yourself, so you can work and live. I'm a military guy, so I'm very big in organization. Not obsessed, but I like cleanliness. So, yeah. All right. Next one. I really can't grasp the relationship is her problem. Don't men generally lead the relationship? Okay. It's like Pook said, right? Pook said, women do not want to complete you. They want to enjoy your completeness, right? When we say don't, the relationship is her problem, it's not like, hey, you don't ever do anything and you don't invite her or anything, right? You simply let her worry about what you are and where the relationship is at. You have bigger things to worry. It is unattractive to women when you are more worried about the relationship because it means that your focus isn't on being great or achieving your dreams or you even being your own mental point of origin. It is essentially you're worried and anxious about things that don't benefit her. So when you're a little bit distracted and working on your goals, right, she feels more compelled to worry about the relationship and do what it takes to keep you around. And that's part of the fun for her. So when you worry and try to convince yourself to be in a relationship with her, that takes the fun away from her. And so, in essence, let the relationship be her problem. She wouldn't want it any other way. That doesn't mean be neglectful on purpose if you want to be with her. Essentially, it's this: you plan the date, you have a good time, you show up mentally and emotionally, you have a good time, you have good sex, you do that repeatedly. And when you see that she starts like acting like a girlfriend, doing girlfriend tryouts, then, any day now, she's going to bring up the question, hey, are you seeing other girls? Or, hey, what are we? Hey, can we be a little bit more serious? You'd be surprised. Women ask this. There are women that are like, hey, can we have unprotected sex? That is her saying, I want no one else to fuck you. That's one way they say it, right? So let her worry about it. It doesn't like you have a control fantasy. Stop having control. You can't control women. You can control yourself, but you can't control women. Let them to their own devices. So, yeah. All right, next question. How do I deal with men who cock block? Well, it depends on what. If it's your friend, then don't be their friend anymore. That's not your friend. Easy. Um, so when men cock block, do what the PUAs used to do, right? If you're in a social situation, start complimenting and putting like just start complimenting the hell of the guy that's cock blocking. You know, what is it called? AMOG, the alpha male of the group. He's gonna be like, who's this? You know, he's gonna like talk down to you and be condescending when you hit on his girls, right? But all you do is just start talking about like, hey man, look at this guy. This guy's more like this guy's really handsome, you know? Like just start blowing him up and it will, you know, use his ego against you, right? If you're getting cock blocked by men. If it's like the the guy with the ego that's trying to prevent you from dating or talking to his girls, right? That's an old PUA tactic. If it's just a weird random dude, blah blah, you gotta understand that sometimes women bring their like lame ass orbiters or gay friends to the bar with them so they don't get hit on, right? It's their insurance against getting hit on. So, you know, there's that. But yeah, that's just do that. Just navigate that situation. Don't get mad. Don't get confrontational ever. Just turn the conversation toward the guy, start complimenting the guy, make to the point where it makes him uncomfortable and let him choke under his own ego, you know? So, all right, next one. What do you mean by women compete by filtering out men and encouraging unattractive behaviors for women compete by filtering out men and okay, women compete with other women by filtering out men and encouraging unattractive behaviors in men. Okay, I know what you're saying. So, whenever a woman says something like a woman cuts her hair or gets a tattoo, and all the women are like, "Wow, it's such a nice tattoo. Or that's a cool piercing, or that's I'm glad you cut your hair." All of those things are unattractive behaviors to men. Doesn't mean you won't have sex with them, but tattoos, nose ring, shorter hair does not increase your attractiveness. At best, it does nothing, and at worst, it drops it one or two, right? I don't care if a woman has sex is sex, right? Red flags or green lights. However, this is how women compete. Women can't fight or compete at the like men do because we have strength and testosterone. So they do what's called a subversion, and they tell women encouraging unattractive behaviors because it gets them out of the trash takes itself out, right? Um, so if you tell a woman, "Oh, you look so good with short hair," she's going to continue to cut her hair short, and now less men will find her attractive because she knows that the marker of beauty is long hair, and there's less competition for her, right? It's what Arnold did when he was going to win Mr. Olympia. He told everyone that he doesn't drink milk; he just drinks beer, right? The same thing, like encouraging things that will make you lose Mr. Olympia or something like that. Now, the men part, encouraging unattractive behaviors in men uh, essentially, women have a lot of trouble filtering out men because a lot of us are good at lying. A lot of us can rent a Lambo and get laid. And women's biggest fear is getting laid by a man that is not as awesome as she thought he was, right? That's why the A word exists. That's why birth control exists, all that stuff, right? So, what women do is that they encourage unattractive behaviors in men so they can filter themselves out. It's easy, right? Because if he's too dumb to fall for this, then I'm not gonna have sex with him. Job done. I don't have to it makes my job easier. He won't bypass my hypergamous filter. So they'll be like, "Hey, I like it when guys bring flowers. What happened to men who bring flowers?" And guys are like, "Oh, I'll bring flowers then." That guy just confirmed in her mind, "What a dork. I hate flowers. This guy is not worthy to have sex with me." So, yeah. Oh, it's okay. I forgive you. It tasteful, yeah, like I mean, you can go on Instagram and YouTube Shorts and you'll find like these guys that build bachelor pads or show you how to decorate. It's not that hard, guys. Like $200 and you'll have your whole apartment looking like really sexy. And then plants help. I got plants all around. So, yeah. Yeah. Well, dude, have them play them with you. All right, next question. Um, what does maybe girl, yes girl mean, and do you ever go for a maybe girl? So there's three types of girls in dating, right? There's the yes girls, the maybe girls, and the no girls. Yes girls are the girls that like, yes, I'll go on that date with you. Yes, let's have sex. Yes, I'll come over. They're the girls that are just they're just down for you, right? They like you, they're foaming at the mouth to date you, and they'll do anything to be around you, right? Those are the yes girls. There is no doubt. Maybe girls are girls you just met, you're trying to figure out her angle. Like these are girls that are like, I don't know, maybe I'll see you next week, or let's do Thursday instead, or you hook up with them maybe once and then they're like very, slow to answer texts. It's just in the air. Those are maybe girls. They don't last long because eventually guys get tired of chasing them down or figuring out what their angle is. And then they become no girls. No girls are girls that like you're never going to convince them to have sex with you. There's nothing you could say or do. They'll never have sex with you ever. And to those girls, you just simply stop talking to them. So, all right. Next one. How much do you make on a Substack? How much do you make on Substack per month? Ooh, I don't know if I'm gonna answer this question. Uh, enough that I have to pay taxes on it. There you go. I'm not gonna answer exactly. I don't. Yeah, I don't like. It's too much transparency, but I make a decent amount. I'm proud of how much I make, enough to pay taxes, but nothing life changing, right? All right. How do you turn a boring conversation around? Well, there's chick crack, right? If the conversation gets too much about work and boring stuff, there's chick crack. Talk about uh things about her, like her nails. That's a good one. They always open up and talk about the, hey, why'd you choose that color? Let me see. Um, you get therapy language and therapy talk. That's always going to turn women's brains on because they love that language. It's hard to get in that mode because you're a man and you don't like that shit, but hey, like, hey, I want to, let's talk about this. Like, you just make up some kind of therapy language talk, and their ears will prick up and stuff. So, like, always expose information where you're just telling her about your life or she's telling you about yours. Try to stay away from that. Go for the ambiguous, the chick crack, the therapy language, the stories, the actual stories that you had in your head, where you built a story where it conveys high status, respect from other men, comfort with other women, and all that stuff. So, yeah, do that. All right. Next question. How do you handle shit tests without looking defensive? Well, you know how to pass a shit test, agree and amplify, or just ignore. But it's the red pill, right? What is the red pill but if something that gives us predictive power to when we're dealing with women? So if you know what a shit test is and the forms it comes in, when you get it, you know that she likes you because she is like, okay, this guy's in the running, let's test him out because she likes you. So you don't get mad. You're just like, oh, things are good, right? It's just being red pilled is how you don't look defensive. So, all right, next question. How do you recover if you say something awkward? As long as it's not something so weird or sexually awkward or something pervy or, just you move on, right? What happens? We're human. Women say awkward shit all the time. You just don't catch it because you're oogling her tits or, whatever. But just there's nothing you can do. You just keep talking and act like it didn't happen, you know? All right. All right. What's your go-to move to escalate things smoothly? I don't know what you mean by escalate. Um, Do you mean like sexually, like in my apartment, or like just Kino or language wise? I'm gonna assume you mean Kino, and by Kino, you just start with a hug, a tight hug. You lead her through the crowd by holding her hand. You lead her to her seat. You you know ask her to see her nails. You touch her hand. You touch her shoulder. You touch her thigh very briefly, and then you lock hands, and you're sitting close and touching thighs because the bar is so packed. Um, so Yeah. Also, I have a great stream on Kino. So if you guys want another stream on Kino, I'll probably do one if you guys need it. All right. So, what do you say when she's trying to make you jealous on a date by comparing you? I wouldn't self-deprecate, but what is she comparing you to? Like an ex, like a celebrity? Uh, look at it like this. Pretend you're in a bed with two hot chicks and she's comparing you. What would that guy say? The guy in the bed with two hot chicks. Get in that headspace. Comparison, it's just how women get in your head. Some women are too stupid to have a good time. Some men are too stupid to have a good time. So they don't know how to be charming and they say dumb stuff like comparing you. There is no realm and with that's sexy to a man. So women don't know what they're doing. So a lot of times you can either ignore or just play into it a little bit, but realize that and this may not even be a shit test. This may be like, hey, I am too dumb to be likable. And don't be surprised when, you know, a lot of women are like that. All right. How do you keep things fun after sex so she wants to stay? Fun after sex? Just pillow talk, just lay down, talk. Um, maybe put on a movie, put on some anime, fall asleep to something, you know. Like after sex, you're gonna be tired. You should be tired. And she's gonna be tired too. She will be like a little bit happy because women feel really good after sex and all that. But so it's like cuddle. Women need to cuddle, build that oxytocin, and just drift off to sleep. You know. All right. What's your move if she starts asking where is this going? You just be honest. Just be honest. It'll save you a lot of pain. Don't try to be like, well, I like, whatever. Just be honest. Like, hey, I am looking for something casual. Or if you like her and she's like, hey, I'm willing to give this a shot. Right? Don't be like, oh, don't profess your love to her, but just be 100% honest. Be transparent. Hey, I'm seeing other girls like this. And this is what happens. A lot of girls will crash out and be like, you lied. I really like you, blah, blah. And then they'll be drama queen for a couple of days and then they'll accept, well, I really like this guy, but he fucks the shit out of me and it's really good. So I'm just gonna like be a good little soldier and just hang around. Or some girls are like, hey, sorry, I like you. I'll keep you around in case my next boyfriend doesn't work, but I'm looking for a boyfriend. And that's okay too. But honesty will save you so much headache in this situation. All right. What's a subtle way to gauge if she wants to come back again? Uh She answers the morning after text very enthusiastically with hearts. She initiates contact after sex, like a couple days. Um, she starts asking you how you like sex. Like, hey, like, is there a special lube you like? A lot of women, what they'll do is like when they finally find a guy that they enjoy sexually, they'll be like, hey, so I want to try this lube with you. They get very adventurous with you. That's a good sign. Um, and all that. And yeah, just like that. Very sexual, like she's very sexual adventurous and don't freak out if she's a little obsessed with you. Women don't know what to do when they're getting fucked very well. It's a lot of the times they don't even it's their first time getting good sex. So they just like they don't know what to do. So yeah. All right, let's keep going. And I think this is the last one. All right. I was intimate with one and she was obsessed. Uh-oh. One time I joked about being in the city to meet up and she was excited. Then when she discovered it was a joke, she went ego protection and wanted to end it all. I sent the shame text. Shame text? She blocked. Is it cooked, bro? Yeah, it's cooked. Listen, man, this is an ego thing. You have an ego and you wanted it stroked. Women are not for your ego, right? To stroke your ego. That's what your achievements are. That's what your other stuff, your hobbies. But women are not meant as a cornerstone of your worth as a man, how awesome you are. You will be in the worst place of your life and you will still get beautiful women to show up and fuck you. And you will be in the best place of your life. And there'll be chubby girls that'll be like, ill, don't talk to me. Or who is this guy? Right? Yeah, take it. Women are for you to get your needs in, and if they so desire, love you beyond that, right? That's it. And maybe raise kids with you. They're not a tool for you to feel good about yourself. So what happens here, dude, is that she got obsessed and you were like, man, I'm awesome. I got a girl obsessed, right? And as you get older and more experienced, you realize like, hey, yes, maybe like I had a girl or two kind of, you know, I wouldn't say get obsessed, but they were really into me beyond like reason, right? And I could have taken that as like I'm so awesome, right? I'm so awesome. Like I got these bitches on lock. But you know what it is? It's just probability meets statistics, right? I've been in the game longer. Most men my age are married, but I've been single longer than most men. So I've had a lot of practice on dating and a lot of practice with sex, right? So I know how to make a girl feel good. It's not because I'm awesome, it's because practice, right? If one guy practices calculus, does 40 more exercises than the other guy, it isn't that one guy is smarter. It's just one guy has more reps. The other guy can get more reps in, absolutely. But he has to put in the reps. It's not about who's better. It's just someone has put in more reps. It's just easy equation. It has no ego. No, I'm better than you genetically. It's just like I have put in more reps. That's it. So um you decided to make her feel bad, and when she felt bad, you're shocked. Like once you have a girl that's into you, you don't need to game her. Sometimes you don't even have to tease her. I have been dating women for 8 months at a time, 6 months, 4 months, 5 months, whatever. And they, even when I started teasing them or upping the alpha a little bit, which is what you did, you too much alpha, they got visibly upset, right? Because remember, um, contrary to what the internet says, women will choose your role for you, right? And your role here was to be the hot fuck boy, right? And you gave her a good D, and you decided I am going to run this chick. I'm going to punish this girl for being into me. And that's what you did, right? There's no need to joke or to run game on a girl that is willing to break down a door to fuck you, right? As a matter of fact, up the beta a little bit, right? Maybe cuddle with her after, maybe bring her candy and chocolate, a chocolate bar or something, right? Because first off, that'll make her less crazy and you have to deal with less drama. And number two, it will keep her around longer, right? The alpha is the sex. You gave her that. That's all she needed. Women are different, right? Some women need teasing, but most women just need good sex and to be treated okay, right? You run game really in the beginning, but then once she realizes, okay, this guy's experienced, the fact that I'm hooking out with him is enough to get me going. But some guys over game because they're like, no, 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 you don't understand. I'm an alpha. I'm like, dude, you already won. Just win. You don't need to do more. You don't need, like, after you cross the finish line, you don't need to run full speed again. You can slow down and walk and look at the parade, like wave at the fans and do your victory lap. You fucked up the victory lap. That's what you did. So it is cooked. Learn your lesson. Women are not, just win. Stop trying to mess up after you won. Stop trying to like score on the other opponent's basket, right? Okay, we got two more. I think we're gonna call it. Are most husbands dealing with no girls in a sexless marriage? I don't understand that question. Are most husbands dealing with no girls in a sexless marriage? What do you mean? Like, are they faithful despite having no sex, or are they sexless? I don't understand that question. All right. How do you suggest round two without sounding desperate? Um, okay, when round two, like, hey, you've hooked up and you want to see her again. So here's what I do. Here's what I do. I would simply, let's say round one, we have sex. Good morning. Like the morning after text you. Oh yeah, great. Thank you. I had a great time, whatever. Let it run for like 2 days. Right. Let it run for like 2 days. And then if no answer, then bring it up, maybe 2 to 3 days. Run 3 days. You're like, hey, um, and just be direct, directness works here, right? Just be like, hey, drinks tonight at this spot. Can I see you? I would like to see you. Drinks here, right? A lot of times what happen is girls will be like, "Can I just come over instead?" Boom. But just be direct, but let it cook, right? Let her go to the group chat, tell her friends about you, let her solve those problems at work that she had like in her mind. Let her get her appointments in. Like don't hound her hands off. Let her enjoy, the warmth she feels in her vagina from getting pounded the night before. Let her process that, right? Let her, give it, and if after 3 days there's nothing, reach out, and if there's no reach out or she gives you the closure text or whatever, just, again, go through the stream again, and you'll know what to do. So, yeah. Alright, wait. He means no girls versus yes girls. As in, no girls meaning they're completely not willing to have sex, yeah. Okay. I meant, are the wives no girls for the husband as a concept? Uh, it's different, right? Because here's a thing that like a lot of men don't understand, and it's hard for them to conceptualize. Your wife, even if she doesn't want to have sex with you, she still loves you, right? And what happens is women feel very guilty because they don't feel sexually attracted to their husbands a lot of the time. They feel pretty guilty. Um, so when they're not exactly no girls, right? They're your wife. They're women that you've had sex with, and it's a different dynamic because there's familiarity, sometimes there's kids involved, there's history, long shared history, probably longer than a year, years. So it's not the same as like, yes girl, no girl, maybe girl dynamic, right? That's different. Yes girl, maybe girl, no girl dynamic is in the context of casual spinning plates and stuff like that. But for marriage, wife is different. There's a whole set of skills and things you got to do in order to uh, run dread and all that. So yeah. All right, this is the last question, and I'm out of here, guys. Curious on your take. Do women actually like when you take them to museum? I don't know. I've never taken a woman to a museum. Never. Museums are fun places. I love, especially natural history museums. I love them. They're fun to go to, but you know, there's kids around, so that lowers the sexiness of it. There's kids, right? There's field trips. Um, and there's weird scientists and researchers around that are constantly trying to talk to you, teach you stuff. Um, maybe seeing weird sea creatures doesn't turn her on. Like, there's no intimacy. It's a fun thing to do, right? But like, take a girl that's like trying to be your girlfriend there, right? Take a girl that earned it. Don't use dates with that are not sexual zones as a way to build sexual escalation. Or, take a friend instead. Take your mother, take your father, your brother, your wife, your girlfriend. Don't take a random girl because it's not going to build any. It's really hard to build attraction. I mean, you can, absolutely you can, right? I'm not saying you can't, but why would you want to? Why would you make it harder than you need to, right? Why would you pull a cart with square wheels when there's circle wheels right there? So yeah, yeah, it's like LTR. Yeah, it doesn't have to be a girlfriend, but it could be like a girl that's just so awesome. Like, listen, it gets tough, right? Because it's easy to get blackpilled or, get bitter because the internet is just constantly, internet does this thing where you end up in a dark place if you're not careful, right? I'll open my Instagram and, my stuff is like, I like anime, I like Shiba dog stuff. I like computer setups. I like car restoration and furniture restoration. Those are my thing. And then maybe funny racist memes or stuff like that, right? Um, I do a little bit of relationship, but a lot of relationship content is very cringe. So it's like even the funny stuff is just cringe, self-deprecation stuff. So I don't really like that. But whatever. Or silly memes that are very niche, stuff that like me and my friends laugh at, right? But I get shown every day um women using, like short form content has to have a hook. And the hook is like something that you say within the first 3 to 6 seconds of the short video to get the person's attention. It's hard. You need to create a problem or you need to do a subversion like you've been doing this wrong your whole life and here's why, or come with me. I tried this and you won't believe what happened, whatever. Something to get your guys' attention, right? Because human attention span is short now because of short form content. Now that I'm a content creator and now that I'm aware more of how algorithms work, I've mastered the Twitter one pretty okay. I realized that the reason I'm seeing so many half naked women and tits and my like dopamine is getting fried every time I want to doom scroll for 30 minutes. It's because sexuality is the easiest hook and it's also the product. So it's easy. So if I'm watching content about Shiba Inus or anime and a girl is showing obvious cleavage, that's her hook. Right? It's not sexual. She's just trying to get views and clicks. That's the hook. And that pisses me off because I'm in the business of trying to get people to pay attention to me so I can provide value, right? But they use the easiest hook in the book, the easiest trick in the book, and they're spamming the hell out of it to the point where even the content I watch just for fun, it's degrading it, right? Can I do anything about it? Absolutely not. However, you see that on the internet enough that you start saying like, "What the hell, man?" Like, you know, and you see how women's react, like their behavior, the TikToks. Again, you don't know what's real. Women complain about TikToks. It's always like, "I ghosted this guy and I don't regret it," or whatever, being terrible, right? Because that gets you status with other women. So there's a good chance they're lying because they're incentivized to lie. So, um, you see all this bad behavior from women, and you see women kind of like get in the past in subtle ways, in any industry you're in, and you're just like, okay, like this is gonna take me to a dark place, right? But in real life, right, in real life dating, um, there's going to be, and this is dangerous, but also necessary. It's almost like a canon event that every man should go through in his dating life. There's going to be women that would be incredible girlfriends, like wow, and they're not going to want to be in relationships. And there's a women that want relationships really bad, but they're terrible girlfriends. Like they just want to get fucked and then do nothing, right? Just and post on, be on TikTok. Or they have no dreams, aspiration, nothing. Just terrible girlfriend, just boring person, whatever, right? Which is like your typical trad wife woman on the internet. So the internet has fucked a lot of us up in terms of women, right? Even because all it does is when you get ghosted, it exacerbates the it exacerbates that negativity because right now you're in an emotional state. You got rejected, and your body feels it, your mind feels it, and you're not stable. You need maybe an hour, 2 hours, a good night's sleep to get back to center, right? But instead, you doom scroll and you see women living it up on social media. They're not. They're broke because why else would they be on social media so much? The economy's bad. They need extra money. Um, and also you see them dunking on men and saying men ain't shit after you genuinely tried to show a girl a good time and maybe get laid and possibly, end up with an LTR. Who knows? So, uh, you'll get into these relationships with these casual women that only want casual, and you'll find that when you remove pressure from women, and this goes into the topic today, when you remove pressure from women and you stop trying to be entitled to them, you leave the door open, cookie in the pocket theory, you understand the kids in the mansion analogy and all that stuff. And you unclamp your fist of expectation off of their arm. You let them be, right? A lot of women become amazing, right? And that's really like ironic, right? Because a lot of men think, oh, you got to train your woman. You got to do this, you got to do that. You got to clamp down and just control every aspect of her life. I've seen the opposite in my life, right? Do you have to communicate boundaries? Yes. In any relationship with any human being on earth, you have to at some point say, hey, don't do this. I don't like this, or this is not happening. Got it. But in general, the happiest I've seen women is when I don't pressure them into doing things, or like, hey, I'm a man, you listen to me, and you're not supposed to cook steak this way. I just like, hey, let them cook steak for me 4 times. And when they ask me, is there any way I could do it better? Oh yeah, sure. Maybe a little bit more, less pepper, or hey, a little bit less cooked. It's getting a little, and you eat the whole plate anyway, right? And I'm not saying that's what you should do. This is an observation. This is a me thing, right? I've seen women at their best in casual relationships, um, and my girl's pretty awesome now too. Thank God. But the women, I've seen women at their best after telling me I don't want a relationship. I'm just not in the headspace. And I've seen them do amazing things for me. And that undoes all of the internet stuff. Hell, sometimes even a girl just being polite and asking me how my day was, in genuinely asking me how I'm doing, is enough for 6 months of negative female Sarah stock PR on the internet to go away. Right. So again, don't take the ghosting personally, guys. You guys already know what it is, right? But at the same time, audit yourself. There could be something that you could do better, but that does not mean you suck. It means you are learning, it means you're tweaking, it means you're calibrating to your dating market that you're in and to the likes and your desires, right? Um, let women decide what you are to them and pick your role. I know that sounds lame because you're not in control, but do you want to be in control of something so silly as dating? It's silly. That's a woman's pastime. Your job is to get sex, right? Let women prove themselves to be decent, right? If they are terrible online and they want to destroy your chances, or like their ability to get men to go out and date, sure. But in real life, let them convince you they're good people. And trust me, a lot of them will. Right. Um, and yeah, that's all I have. Uh, subscribe to the Substack if you haven't already. A lot of good stuff in there. I just dropped a newsletter plus another essay. I'll probably be dropping an essay in the next couple of days too. Another one. Let me link that here. Yeah, subscribe here. I'll have a book update for you soon. I'm waiting for it from the editor. Covered that. Catch me on Rule Zero. It was on Jack's channel, Jack Napier's channel, yesterday. So yeah, let me see if there's anything else. Yeah, and if you haven't liked the video, if you haven't, there's a lot of you watching on X. So if you're watching on X, slide over and give a like to the video here. Why not? Support your boy. Thank you guys for the super chats. And for those of you watching after you would like to support your show, super thanks is always welcome. I appreciate it. And comment below any topics you want me to cover, anything I missed, any personal experiences where you ghosted and you messed up, or you did the right thing, like I've been telling you guys. Yeah, I'll see you guys next Sunday, perhaps, if I'm in the area. Other than that, guys, thank you for your time, and I will see you later.